Hi, I'm Mary Lou Henner, and I'm here to talk about the fabulous Aurora Teagarden Mysteries, Something New, which starts this Friday. We're so excited, and I'm joined by two fabulous co-stars, the two stars of the movie, Skylar Samuels playing Aurora Teagarden,
Hi.
and Evan Broderick
Hey
playing
guys.
Arthur. What is Arthur's last name? I forgot. Uh-oh, don't tell 60 Minutes.
Oh gosh, Smith.
Smith, Arthur Smith. Yeah, of course, Arthur Smith. But they're so incredible in it. And I'm so excited to share the two of you with our fabulous audience that always comes to the Aurora Teagarden Facebook Lives. So I want to start by saying I know why I was excited to do this series because I've loved it through all the ones that I got to shoot before. But what was it, Skylar, that attracted you to the series? Because I'd love to know what you felt about it when you first, they said, will you please play Aurora?
Yeah, I mean, it kind of came my way by surprise. I've never worked with Hallmark before. Obviously, I love their holiday movies, but I'd only ever consumed it as a fan, not as like a actor participant. But I was vaguely familiar with the Aurora franchise and world before. And when I had the opportunity to reprise young Aurora, I thought it was a really interesting challenge because I've never sort of reinvented or like taken the reins of a character that already exists before. I've done like more vague versions of that, in like the superhero X-Men world, but never with a character that was so well known and fleshed out over 18 movies you guys did. So I thought it was really kind of a fun challenge to sort of study this character in person that this audience loves and then kind of reverse engineer who she might have been in her early to mid 20s. And it's fun. There's a lot of juicy stuff happening with Aurora Teagarden. So I got to get my hands dirty and it was awesome.
That's great. And what about you, Evan? What attracted you to Detective Arthur Smith?
Well, I haven't really done any mysteries, so it was kind of cool the idea of kind of delving into that. And B, I think the idea of doing a prequel is pretty cool. And like you said, Sky, it's kind of like reverse engineering what they might have been like when they were younger. And watching the older series, watching Peter Benson play Arthur, I'm like, oh, I felt sort of a kinship between him and I, even though I didn't know him. And so I just thought it was really cool to be able to dive into a character that already had a fan base. So
yeah, well, you know what else? It's like just the tilt of your head. It was so Arthur, and it was so great when I first saw you, even on the Zoom when we did a read through. And it's so great to see these characters come to life. But you're right; it's the reverse engineering that I think the audience is really going to get a kick out of. It's just so much fun to do that. Okay, so. Can you tell us something about the series? Because people know that she's just come out of, if they saw the preview, she's just come out of grad school and she's back living in Lawrencetown. And talk about a little bit what happens as you're coming back here. You're living with me, your mom, who adores you so much. So what is it like for you, Skylar, to come back and reconnect with Arthur and your hometown?
I think what's fun about where we find Aurora at the beginning of our movie is she is kind of the opposite of the Aurora we know in the other movies. Like adult Aurora, or more adult Aurora, I should say, is polished, she's put together, and she's good at solving mysteries and crimes. Like she's kind of in her stride when we meet her before. And I would say that early Aurora is not even in that ballpark yet. She's working as a TA and at a diner for supplemental income to put herself through grad school. And she's in the spirit of going to college and running out of money. She's moved back in with her mom and is a little bit like in transition. You can kind of see all of the like seeds of who she'll become are planted, but it's still a little bit of a mess, kind of in a fun way, which is very true to your, early to mid 20s. I think it's a little all over the place. And I think what's really nice is you get to see Aurora reconnect with Arthur. It's clearly been a couple of years since they've seen each other last, but even from that first interaction, when he comes into the diner and recognizes her after all those years, you get the sense that they are picking up right where they left off, that there was some will they, won't they thing. They were very good friends. Maybe there was more of a flame there. There was something, but immediately she's kind of plugged back into her old life in Lawrencetown. And then from there, you really just kind of understand like her origin story, you know, how she stumbled into her superpower of solving mysteries, and how, you know, Arthur and Sally became such a paramount part of her team, so to speak. You know, you kind of get to see that all come together in this story.
Mm-hmm.
Absolutely. Well, I think the audience, first of all, they're going to fall in love with all the little hints that we're dropping along the way. I mean, the fact that without giving too much, Hallmark, just shut me off if I'm saying too much. But there's a scene in Aurora's original bedroom that it just screams teenager in, you know, the early aughts or 90s or whatever, and you can see the start of what might turn into the Real Murders Club. The idea of putting, you know, people up in the pictures and stuff like that. I think the audience, I think, is going to fall in love with the idea that so many hints are dropped, or so many little things that they have come to know and love in the original series, that it's like, oh, that's how it started. Oh, I can see that's going to turn into this. And that's so much fun. And what about you, Evan? How did you feel about, you know, the part and their history was always that there was something, but we weren't sure. And that's why Lynn, the character that you end up marrying, always had like a little thing about, you know, a little lucky with Aurora. It wasn't, there was a little more than just she was trying to get into her territory. How did you feel about the way they've set up these two characters?
I think it's really cool because I like what you said. I think we do pay homage to the old series, the original series, where they're definitely more established. So what's interesting is that Ro and Arthur are both kind of in a similar place. They're in transition periods. Ro's trying to get back on her feet after grad school. Arthur's, you know, trying to be a detective, but he's like so far from getting to that goal. So what's cool about this film is that you see them in the early stages and them trying to kind of figure their way through the post-grad years, which are, you know, really big years in terms of development. So
yeah. Absolutely. Yeah. And then let's talk about a little bit about, you know, the fact that what the actual script is about this time, because I think it's so fabulous that something that the audience, I think, is really going to pick up about another character, and what is kind of, without giving too much away, what is the mystery of this particular movie? Skylar, do you want to address that one?
Yeah, you know, because the thing that struck me when I watched some of the original Auroras was Sally's relationship with men and sort of respectively Aurora's. And I thought, like, these two girls really are ride or die. Like, the men are there, but like this friendship comes first. And then in this movie that we've done, it was like, okay, 2020 hindsight vision. Now I understand like what sort of forged them in fire to be the best friends that they are down the road. And I think it's really challenging for Sally, poor girl. Like, she puts her best foot forward. She's getting married. She's got her dream wedding and everything right in front of her. And then, like is true with most weddings, chaos ensues. Hopefully not to the extent that it does in our movie, but you kind of get to see the challenges that Sally goes through romantically and sort of the mysteries that surround that, and how that kind of brings her closer to Aurora and Arthur, I think, from that point forward.
Mm-hmm.
Right, absolutely. And Evan, your involvement in this particular murder mystery, can you talk about that a little bit?
Well, I think, you know, the stakes are so high because they're not expecting this. This is the first kind of mystery they try to solve together, I should say. And it's involving their really good friend Sally and the missing fiance, right? So I think they kind of both get thrust into this situation, which forces them to team up and try to solve this case together. But I don't think either of them were expecting this to happen. It just kind of happened. So,
right.
Yeah.
Well, it's funny because you also, it becomes kind of a well-oiled machine after a while.
Right. Which you see in the original series. Yeah.
And with this, and at this point, it's like, will you try that? Will you try that? Oh, can you try that? Can we try that? Can we this?
Yeah.
So you see everybody a little at, not so much at odds, but like, we're in new territory here. Can we get away with this? Can we try this? You know, which is so much fun. And for me as a character, the thing about Aida was always, you know, she was always described as very imperious, very sure of herself, very confident. She was kind of like the mayor of Lawrencetown, knew everybody, you know, everything filters through her. And now in this something new, I'm like kind of at this weird sort of transition crossroads. I'm not totally comfortable being a single woman or a single mom yet. And she's just come back from college. Aurora has just come back from college and from grad school, and my business is failing, you know, so it's like it was fun for me to play a character who is much less sure of herself and just even dresses a little bit differently, but you can still see the seeds of the future Aida, you know. So it's been fabulous for me as an actor to like kind of revisit, and it's definitely made me up what was already a very up health routine, because somebody said to me, oh my gosh, you know, you're playing your character a few years ago. And I said, and I got to stay there for a long time.
Well, if anyone can, Mary Lou, it's you. So
absolutely.
Thank you. We've had so much fun. You know, one of the strengths of the Aurora Teagarden series has definitely always been its relationships. And Skylar, let's talk about the fact how you and I bonded. We went to lunch 3.5 hours before we started shooting.
Yeah.
It was like crazy. We felt like we'd known each other our whole lives.
Yeah, it's so funny. I was doing press yesterday and they were asking about that. And when I met you, and I said, it was weird. She was a stranger. And then we had lunch and it felt like I've known her my entire life. And it kind of just continued on that course.
Yeah, I know.
I'm really lucky. I feel like, you know, it's like Hallmark should really have some kind of matchmaking show, because they do think they have their pulse on like how to pair people together. Because I'd never met Evan, I hadn't met Kayla Heller, Sally, and yet like we all got together, and I thought, of course, like this is absolutely the group of people. Like it just fit right in. So I feel like we all got really lucky that just off the bat we all got along so well.
It felt so easy. Yeah, even that table read, I was like, wow, everyone's just perfect. You know, there's no animosity, there's no tension. Everyone just got along so well.
Well, that was for you. We all talked about you.
Yeah, you guys talked about me behind my back.
Yeah.
I can handle it.
You guys are such a blast. We had, you know, we've been having so much fun, and it's so nice to see it come to life. And the fact that Skylar, you even know my sons, and you're the same age as my kids. I mean, it's like,
no way.
Oh,
really? You know Mary Lou's kids? No way.
Yeah, she knows. Yeah. Nick Lieberman.
In passing high schools here, and well, not here.
Cool.
They were in school at the same time. So
wow.
it's like so it's great. Yeah, you know, the LA. It's actually a very small town, especially showbiz LA. Yeah, for sure.
Kidding, no kidding.
What do you think fans will be most excited to see in terms of? Because I know what I feel knowing both of the series. What do you think that people, when you talk to people on the street and you say, "Oh, I'm doing the Aurora Teagarden series," what do you think they're going to be most excited to see in terms of, you know, our version?
I think one of the things I was most excited about, as far as like the opportunity that presented itself, and then being given so much freedom and creative license from Hallmark and from our director, Jessica Harmon, was really to embrace like Aurora's messiness. Like, I think it's really fun to see people not be great at stuff. Like, it's kind of not interesting if they're too good at their job. And so I think it's really fun to kind of watch her stumble through, you know, some really like risky choices, quite frankly, when she's investigating, where you're like, you know, Aurora is constantly on the verge of giving Arthur a heart attack because she's just going.
Her mother, excuse me.
Her mother, you know, just like putting herself in the line of fire, you know, without a second thought. And I think that's something that in time Aurora will have to learn and kind of figure out, like, maybe we need to make an assessment or a judgment call before.
Well, you know, she's always going to give me a heart attack. But I love that even in the preview, if you've seen it, you know, you say, oh no, I'm never doing this again. Or I'm not, you know, it's like, I hope this doesn't become a regular thing.
Right. Exactly. And I think so. Part of it's really fun. And then I think really something that Evan and I enjoyed was being able to lean into Arthur and Aurora's relationship and really just kind of maybe put stuff out there that wasn't explicitly on the page or maybe was implied in the other movies, but just kind of build on the idea of what has this audience been wondering about these two people?
Right.
What is the itch that they need scratched when it comes to these two? And really being able to just fully indulge that in our story. Because like you said, no one's married or with children or partnered off yet. So we have sort of this runway to explore this previous chapter. And I think that's really fun.
So and you two didn't even know each other before, did you?
No.
Not at all.
No. Yes, we met at the table, the Zoom table.
Right. Yeah, but you could tell even from that the kind of chemistry that the two of you had. And you know, it's like it's kind of built into the characters because they're very like-minded in terms of their focus on solving crime. You know, he might be a little more bumbling and she might be a little more aggressive and daring than he is, but they both have sort of that focus, and that's very exciting to not only play, but it's very exciting for an audience to watch.
Well, it worked well for us because Aurora and Arthur work very well together as like a crime fighting team. I think Skylar and Evan work very well as like an actor team. So the symmetry was right there. It was very, very easy and very fun to do.
Yeah. Sure. Let's talk about the actual shooting behind the scenes, what the team was like, what the director was like. So fabulous, you know. It was so much fun to have Jessica, as you mentioned. She was amazing.
Yeah.
And here's something we should tell the audience to look for. She did what is known in the business as a oneer, where you have a single camera and it follows. It's usually somebody with a handheld, whatever, and they followed you through the whole pre-wedding party thing. And it was like 7.5 pages, and we did it in like a oneer, and it just picks up conversations, and it's so masterful. And it was really, I think people will be excited to see that. For sure.
Oh, those are so fun to shoot too. I mean, how long do you think that scene is? Probably 2 minutes?
It's probably maybe a little bit longer. Maybe
like three. Those are fun because nobody wants to drop the ball.
No.
You know? Nobody wants to drop the ball. So I think I can't wait to see that scene back.
Oh, it's great.
Really great. It turned out good.
Yeah, it turned out really well.
Good.
Yeah, no, I think people are really going to enjoy, watching some of the things that are maybe a little bit different and daring. And, it's a different time anyway. And plus, everyone has gotten so used to watching things on other, streaming services, and the audience has gotten a little more sophisticated about what kind of shots to look for. So I think even saying that it's a oneer, people might look for that, and it's kind of exciting.
True.
Well, I think Jessica and our director, Jessica, and our marvelous cinematographer, Will, to their credit, I think they were really clever about wanting to punctuate our movie and really sort of make you forget almost that you're watching a Hallmark movie. I think sometimes people have a very particular idea in mind of what a Hallmark movie might look like or feel like or sound like.
They think Christmas. They think Christmas lighting, Christmas, and this is like more mysterious.
Different. And I think the fact that they chose these really cool sort of aesthetics and tones to make it moody, I think the camera almost feels like another character in the movie because some of the ways that the camera moves or these sort of special shots that we do, it just adds to the moodiness and tension of the whole thing. And I haven't really seen that done before in the Hallmark world. So I think it'll be really fun and like immersive for the mystery audience to just like put them in the story even more.
Yeah. And yet everyone still looks beautiful. So
good.
I mean, you know what I'm saying. We look real but beautiful. But good. There's not anybody who, whatever. Okay, is there anything you want to ask me that you guys feel like well, of course I talk so much on sets and stuff. So you probably ask me everything you've ever wanted to ask me anyway. But
I'm kind of curious to see if you were nervous about anything coming back, like, because you're sort of our liaison between the former Aurora world and the new Aurora world. I mean, I don't know, were you nervous about who we were all going to be or what?
That's a great question. I was nervous in just wanting to make sure that everybody was as loved and as first of all, that you all loved what we were doing, because I love it so much. And I feel like, I wanted everybody, I wanted you to be the kind of characters that people would latch onto, just like the former characters were. And I think that you have. I mean, I think that people are going to be very excited to take this ride with us. I think we're putting enough things into the show that the audience is going to be glued to it to see what they can pick up, including maybe a character who dies in a future episode, in like this is like Back to the Future.
Right.
So I think that would be kind of interesting for people to say, oh, is this going to keep happening? And one of the things I love, because we have a new police commissioner that has never been addressed before, and he is just a firecracker. I love him. Oh my God! I didn't meet him on set because we didn't have
Steve Basic.
Oh my gosh!
Basic, yeah, he's incredible. He was fun to work with. Oh man.
Oh man.
Oh, I can't wait to see that stuff because Steve Basic. He's also the biggest jokester on set.
Really?
I couldn't. There was maybe the only takes they probably used in the movie were the ones where I wasn't laughing. Because he's so funny and he's so
trust me, I worked with Michael Keaton. Michael Keaton called me, Mary Lou, I can't finish a sentence without laughing, Hannah.
Yeah. But that's fun. Like you need that kind of that levity on a set sometimes, even when you're doing a mystery. You know, in life, yeah. So
he's great.
He's great. Detective Cook. Yeah.
Detective Cook.
Yeah. I hope that he and Aurora have more stuff in the future because I loved him in the few scenes we got to have together. But they are the most opposite in personality, but in the way that I think would be great if Aurora ever in the future is like shadowing him as a detective or whatever it might be. Like she wants to be so nosy and involved. And he's like, why are you still here? And she's like, you can't get rid of me. And like, their relationship is so funny and he's the best. So I hope we see more of him in the future too.
Well, the great thing about doing a long running series is that you can make suggestions based on what it feels like, what you've seen, so make sure you put that in the hopper, because Tina Booth, who wrote the original, Charlaine Harris wrote the original Aurora Teagarden books, and then Tina Booth always, and also with Jim Head, but Tina Booth is still writing the series scripts. So it's great. We got to put that into her ear because that's, it's important. It's important for the series to come to life as it always has. And I'm sure it always will. And I hope we get to do a lot of these. I hope people really fall in love with them because they're so much fun. And I think people have a blast trying to pick out all the little nuances that we've thrown in there.
It really was fun to shoot. And I'm glad that I hope that it comes across in the film because like I remember a couple times Sky and I were driving back and we're just like, this has been such a fun shoot. There's been no animosity, no bad blood, just everyone had a lot of fun, which is so important, so
we always talk in show business, I'm sure you do too because you've done series before. If you have a great script and then you cast actors who honor the script and the characters, they can't help but have chemistry. It's like, it's just not that everybody always gets chemistry or there aren't like, once in a while a bad apple on the set. But these characters are so rich and so loving toward one another that they just cast actors who can honor that. And look what happens, We're definitely going to have more dinners like we did that last week. Because I
hope so.
I was there. That was so much fun. I have a lot more games to play.
That was outrageous.
Oh my gosh, that game, Mary Lou, that game I'm gonna remember for the rest of my life.
I played it at a dinner party recently. It was so much fun. I love it.
It's a blast.
Yeah. So, okay. So now we're going to give them some clues. I'm going to give you guys some clues and the audience can play along with us and see if you know who we're talking about. Okay. I launched a successful blog. I am pursuing a journalism degree. I'm getting ready for a big wedding at the altar. Who am I? And who is it in this one?
Sky?
That is BFF Sally.
Yes. And she's, it's so funny. It's fun to watch. It was fun for me to watch because I wasn't in a lot of scenes with her, with Kayla. And it was incredible how she really captured the essence, but also seemed like such an early Sally where she was, not that sure and kind of like, and so relentless in her pursuit of wanting the marriage to work out on the altar and the wedding and stuff. I think people are going to love to see what happens to her character as a result of this particular plot.
Yeah, I think Kayla did such a great job putting Sally in such a different starting point than the Sally that the audience is familiar with. And I think that's fun because it really gives her somewhere to go. And I also feel really lucky like when I met Kayla, I just loved her immediately. She's just this tiny little spitfire, and I just want to like carry her everywhere. I just love her so much.
She's a sweetheart. She's a sweetheart.
Yeah, so much fun. And I think also getting to improvise a little bit with her in our scenes was something that was really fun, because I saw some of the takes that made the cut, and I was so delighted that some of our improvs made it, because it really reminds me of how I talk with my best girlfriends. And I feel like it really makes the Sally and Aurora relationship feel so real, just kind of like amidst some of these really crazy, dramatic, scary things happening, just like saying kind of an inappropriate joke just to like lighten the mood and make the other laugh, you know, just stuff that you do in real life. And I really love that that was embraced and showcased in this movie.
Yeah, for sure. No, it's such a great launch. I think the audience is really going to enjoy seeing the reverse engineer, as you said, of the characters that they love, you know. And I'm excited, and it's going to be on Friday. The movies and mysteries, the premieres have now been moved to Friday, which seems like a good murder and mysteries, you know, night anyway. It's Friday at 9 o'clock Eastern, 6 o'clock Pacific, and 8 o'clock Central. For those of us who grew up in Chicago, we always think in Central Time anyway. Even though I'm here in LA now. But I hope that we can like engage with the audience during the show, and then they do repeats and everything else. So I just hope everybody watches it, you know, because it's pretty fabulous. Any last words you guys want to share with our audience out there?
I think I'm just excited to hear what they have to say. I mean, this is their first foray into early Aurora, so I'm really excited to hear their feedback, and I hope they have as much fun watching it as we did making it. So
yes,
totally. And yeah, we look forward to hearing what the viewers have to think.
Yeah,
have to say. So yeah,
sure.
we can't wait.
Yeah. So well, goodbye from the Aurora Teagarden Something New family, and we can't wait to get your feedback and have you watch the movie. And I'm going to try to live tweet, even though I'm going to be on stage part of the time. But this is the important thing. To get it to trend, which we always got to do, make sure you say hashtag Aurora Teagarden, hashtag Aurora Teagarden. Put that in your copy so you can always like just put it in, you know, record, grab it. So you can always start your tweet with hashtag Aurora, AURORA TEAGARDEN, just as it sounds, Aurora Teagarden. So make sure you do that. Okay, I love you guys. I can't wait till you see it. Let's all text each other, not only during, but before, when you get to see it.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's really good. I'm so proud of it. So thanks. Okay, thank you from the Hallmark family, and we will see you soon.
bye.
Yeah.